Hello. Hey, this is Jim. This is your 30-second notes for the, I don't know what it is. Hang on, let me look at my thing. For the 14th of September. It's a communion Sunday. And anyway, it's Saturday morning, and I've been reading in Amos, the book of Amos, and I'm just going to read you some of the introduction here that this English Standard Version has at the beginning of the book, which is Amos was the first of the writing prophets. He was a shepherd and a farmer. Pretty cool. He was called, of course, to carry the oracles of God to the southern and the northern kingdoms. And here's the kind of the scene. It was a time of idolatry, extravagance, and corruption. The rich and powerful were oppressing the poor. Amos denounced the people of Israel for their apostasy. So you've got an apostate people who know the truth but are shoving it to the side and wanting to live the life they've always wanted to live. So you've got that people, and then you've got the social injustice because of the wealthy that is oppressing the poor. And anyway, Amos comes on the scene. He's sent by God, and he urges the people, listen to this, he urges the people to leave their hypocrisy and their solemn assemblies, crappy church services, and then instead to let justice roll down like waters. So anyway, that's the scene, and he has given the word of the Lord to deliver. But here's what I wanted to share with you all. This is what I was actually was reading this morning, and thought that you might benefit from it. This is in chapter 6, verses 4 and following. Listen to this. Woe to those who lie on beds of ivory and stretch themselves out on their couches and eat lambs from the flock and calves from the middle of the stall, who sing idle songs to the sound of the harp, like David invent for themselves instruments of music. Let me stop there for a second. Is it wrong to lie on beds of ivory and stretch yourselves out on a couch? No, nothing wrong with that. Is it wrong to eat lamb? No, they're yummy. How about calves from the midst of the stall? Early spring lamb, swing, better than mutton. David, he invented instruments for himself. Is it bad to play instruments and make up new stuff musically? Of course it isn't. But this is in the context of these people who are apostate, who are oppressing the poor, and are shoving the things of God to the side. Okay, let me keep on going. Who drink wine in bowls and anoint themselves with finest oils, but are not grieved over the ruin of Joseph, the tribe of Joseph that would be. Therefore they shall now be the first of those who go into the exile, and the revelry of those who stretch themselves out shall pass away. The revelry of those who stretch themselves out shall pass away. Now, how does that apply to you in our music program? Well, I think what you got here is a people who are, they've experienced the blessings of God. They've experienced abundance, and you know how easy it is to start to fall in love with the abundance and forget the giver of the abundance, and you start to feel like you're entitled to the abundance. And I've been reading a book. I don't know if you know this about me at all, but I'm always in the middle of a fiction book, always. And please don't give me any books. I'm begging you. I've got 1,200 pages to read on top of my for a seminary class on top of my normal preparation, and so I'm just reading. So, but I carefully, diligently pick out a half a dozen really, really fine novels, really fine literature that I like to read right before I go to bed, and that's why I have such a bad life. I'm always sleepy and need caffeine because I'm reading late. But I'm reading this book right now, and this guy was exiled to Siberia. So he's put in this place called the White Garden, and there's nothing but white tundra for miles and miles and miles. And anybody who tried to escape would die within a 15 or 20 mile walk just from the freezing cold. There's no tree line for miles and miles and miles. It's just open, barren. There's a camp built in the middle of it, and there's no walls because you can't leave. Anyway, this guy, they start starving. It's in the middle of the Russian Revolution. That nobody knows who the Bolsheviks or the Tsar or the Whites or the Reds. Nobody knows who's winning, and so supplies stop coming in, and they kind of forget about this outpost, guards and prisoners alike. They're all kind of prisoners, and they end up starting to eat each other, and it gets real bad. And they're starving, and this one guy goes down to his just last. He said if he didn't eat that day, he was sure he was going to die. He was just so just so teeny. His thigh was so much smaller than his calf, and he had just wasted away to nothing. But anyway, this military bad guy finds him and starts feeding him. Because when the military bad guy escapes, he's going to take this guy with him all fattened up, and he's going to eat him on the way. Anyway, the guy who's going to be eaten, who is being fattened up, he said, when I moved from utter emaciation, where you were just on the cusp of life, just right there between death and life. He said, when my thigh got as big as my calf, other thoughts started creeping in. And I thought, man, isn't that telling? He started thinking about his life and about what he wants. And when abundance is given us, we immediately start to wrap around it and wrap our lives around it and become accustomed to it and all that. All that to say, musical and technical team, do we not have an awesome situation? I mean, I'm so thrilled with our sound booth and the crew back there and the fun that is to be had, the fun that's to be had, and the excellence that's always delivered. And I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. Admit it. The musical team. I'm in shock at our musical team. I'm in shock how we'll have a rehearsal and it'll go bang, bang. I'll say, let's take that again. Ready? And bang. I mean, everybody's on the part. And our roughest, hardest, like special music rehearsal, that is just so tough. Wow, that's the hardest one we've had in a long time. Is like 47 minutes. That's the hardest one ever. And then we pop it out on Sunday mornings. Always fine. It's just anyway. All that to say, we are blessed. We are blessed. And the minute we forget the giver, we're in a bad situation. So this is no time to coast. This is no time to be idle. This is no time to take things for granted. If anything, this is the time for all of us to be our busiest. This is the time for all of us to be thinking of new and inventive and creative ways to still be on time, maybe now more than ever, to work our hardest to be on the part more than ever before. I just encourage you to do that because the outcome has historically been people who fall apart and people who become selfish and consumed of self and forgetting the giver of all these good gifts. So hang on to the truth, and let's hang on to each other because God has been very kind to all of us.